Good evening, all. What a day that we just went through. First thing this morning after a phenomenal divisional round of the playoffs weekend, we wake up, we go to work, or we don't, whatever we do. And I don't remember exactly what time it was, but early this morning we get the notification from our source that we get all of our news from telling us that the Buffalo Bills have parted ways and fired Sean McDermott. A lot to unpack here, a lot to talk about. I don't know how you guys all feel about this, but not too happy with the way that it went down. There's a lot of topics. There is a should he have been let go? There is a do we think that it should have been him and Brandon Bean only? Is it the right move that it was McDermott only? Should have been Bobby Babich or Joe Brady? It seemed as if most people actually are not against and think that someone in some fashion was destined to be let go and fired. And it just depends on who it is. But the majority of people out there, I feel, are actually not so happy about the decision that was made and feel that it was more Brandon Bean that should have been let go, or at least the combination of the both of them. So as the national championship college football game, beginning kickoff sets forth here, we got a lot to talk about, and I have a lot to say, but I don't really know how to say it. Not too happy, if I'm being honest. First, I'm just going to show you exactly what Sean McDermott has to say in his parting message. I feel that it's fitting to start with this before anything else. So this is what Sean McDermott had to say, and this didn't come out until just a few hours ago. It was a full day of just waiting for some kind of a response from someone, whether it be the general manager, the owner, somebody, or Sean himself, the quarterback. Some people are calling for Josh Allen to say something, but I'm just going to start with what Sean McDermott had to say publicly after his release of the Buffalo Bills in his head coaching role. For nearly a decade, I have had the opportunity to wake up every morning as a head coach of the Buffalo Bills, which has truly been a gift. I want to express my sincere gratitude and appreciation to the Pagula family, the Buffalo Bills organization, and to the fans for allowing me to live out the dream of being a head coach in the NFL in this incredible, special place. I am proud and humbled to have worked alongside amazing staff and players as we shared life together and poured out our hearts and souls into both winning football games and making a positive impact in our community. This community graciously embraced not only me, but my family, and in some ways helped raise our children over the last 9 years. For that, I say thank you to all the teachers, coaches, and friends whom we met along the way. The city of good neighbors. We love you. We will miss Buffalo. Bills Mafia, you are one of one. It has been a joy and inspiration to witness your passion and commitment firsthand. I always wanted our teams to play with the same level of toughness and grit that is true to Buffalo and that you demonstrate every day. God gave me and my family an incredible opportunity, one that we will cherish for the rest of our lives. Yet we know that He has a plan. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your head coach. God bless, Sean McDermott. So that's what Sean McDermott had to say. And at the end of a 9-year tenure, which was the second longest tenure of a head coach in the NFL up until today, of course, Sean McDermott ended his time here with that statement to the city, the state, the fans, the organization, and all that are encompassed with the Buffalo Bills. What I have to say about this guy is no matter what you think of him as a coach and as a football guy, the one thing you cannot argue is the fact that he carries himself with 100% class, and he's an example that everyone anywhere close to a role that he's in should really try to example themselves off of or almost mimic or copy, The guy never did anything wrong in terms of being a role model and showing who he is as a person and representing the Buffalo Bills organization. So that's my take on Sean McDermott as a human being, because let's be real, okay? Whether we like these people or not, yes, they get paid a ton of money. Yes, they're in the limelight. They're famous. Yes, they're playing a child's game. They're still human beings. I mean, they're not machines. They're not characters. They're not all in Madden and Madden only. They actually are real people. Sean McDermott alludes to his family. He brings up teachers. And I think when he said coaches, he meant youth coaches for his children. I believe that's what he meant by that. Obviously, I don't know. I didn't write it, and I don't know Sean, but personally, he's a real person. He lived in the community of Buffalo, Orchard Park area. I don't know exactly where he lived, and that's fine, but assuming it's close by to the stadium of Orchard Park. He didn't badmouth anybody, didn't say anything. Most don't. I understand that. But because of who he is as a person, I actually, I really feel bad for the guy. I know that's the business, and that's going to happen. He's not the only person that's fired. There's 9 or 10 or something like that head coaching vacancies in the NFL at this very moment. But none of them, with the exception, none of them that have just been let go, had been in their place in their community for as long as Sean McDermott has. That can't be argued, because that's fact. So I wanted to say that first and show that first, because that was pretty powerful what he said. I think he deserves nothing but respect from anybody. Obviously, there's going to be people who have some silly remarks probably about him and the Buffalo Bills, and that's fine. But the reality is he's a real person, as is everyone in that organization. And some people are good people, some people are bad people, and I peg Sean McDermott as one of the good ones. Even Easton, who's in here with us sometimes, was not so happy when he found out of this news, and I don't blame him, and I agree. So let's get into what happened. Again, this morning we get the notification. Your phone goes off. You look down. You look at, in this case for me, X, or you look at Facebook or Instagram, wherever it is that you see and get your information from. You see this notification, and it might take me a second, but I also want to bring up what it is that we saw and how we saw it, which is kind of, I think it needs to be said and shown, how the Buffalo Bills let go of Sean McDermott. I mean, I don't, let me see here. I got to find this. I don't know that they really took the time that was necessary to give the guy the respect that he deserves. So they put out this press release. It came out from Adam Schefter, of course, first, or whoever it is that you follow. Bear with me. I'm trying to find this here, the actual one pager that the Bills sent out. I should have had this prepared probably, but I just got home from work, so it's going to take me a moment. But in the middle of this press release saying that they got rid of Sean McDermott, they didn't even check the damn thing for grammar. I mean, you're talking about one of 31 NFL franchises in the world, and they couldn't even have their PR person or whoever it was that was responsible for sending this thing out check the damn thing to make sure that the spelling was correct. And that kind of pisses me off. I'm not an English teacher, and I'm not saying that I spell everything correctly, and I certainly don't. A horrible texter as well, but my gosh, they couldn't even get the spelling right. But they also alluded to Sean McDermott being an admiral. Here it is. Okay, sorry. It took me a while, but I found it. Give me a second. Let me share this. Okay, here we are. Sean has done, now listen, since it first came out, they've edited this. So this fourth or fifth word was changed. It came out first, admiral. Sean has done an admiral, not even admirable, okay? Admiral job. And even if they did spell it right the first time, that's the best adjective that you can come up with for your 9-year head coach. that turned your franchise around from not even understanding what playoff football felt like for 15 or 17 years, and then bringing you to the playoffs, winning your division 5 years in a row, playoff 6 or 7 years in a row, 2 AFC championships, 4 or 5 divisional rounds. I believe it's 6 10-plus win seasons in a row. He literally turned your franchise around. Yes, Josh Allen was there for the same length of time. I understand that. But that's the best you can do. I'm actually embarrassed for the way that they treated this guy. So that word was admiral. Sean has done an admirable job of leading our football team for the past 9 seasons, said owner Terry Pacula. Did he say admirable or did he say admiral? Lord knows, because they quoted him and they changed the word within the quote halfway through the day. I don't even know what he said. The Buffalo Bills, who Terry Pacula owns, couldn't even get his quote correct. We don't even know which word he actually said in his quote. That's kind of embarrassing. But I feel we are in need of a new structure within our leadership to give this organization the best opportunity to take our team to the next level. We owe that to our players and to Bills Mafia. Okay, yes, you do. I understand that. We'll get into the opinion stuff in a moment. Sean helped change the mindset of this organization and was instrumental in the Bills becoming a perennial playoff team. I respect all the work, loyalty, and attention to detail he showed for this team and the community. I wish Sean, Jamie, and his family all the best. Now, here's where the good stuff gets going even further. Moving forward, Brandon Beane will now serve as the president of football operations / general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Brandon will oversee all facets of our football operation, including the oversight of our coaching staff. I have full faith in and have witnessed Brandon's outstanding leadership style and have confidence in his abilities to lead our organization. End quote. Then it ends with Beane will be leading the search for a new head coach and will be working directly with Pagula and Pichielli, who will now serve as president of business operations during the interview and hiring process. I mean, the guy was there for 9 years and was the only reason, well, a large part of the reason that you were in the playoffs for so long. Taking your organization out of, let's call it what it is, the sewer. And this is all you got. And even if it was admirable, right? Even if that's what the quote was, and even if that's what he meant to say, and it was just simply mistyped by whomever this person was, that's the best you can do? I don't know. That frustrates the hell out of me. I don't know about you guys. And secondly, now we're probably going on 2 to 2.5 hours that it's been since Sean McDermott had put out his, statement. Don't you think it'd be somewhat respectful to Sean McDermott to at least put his message to Buffalo and their fans on your social media? You don't have a new head coach yet. You obviously know that you have more reach than he does. I don't even think Sean McDermott's on any social media, so we don't really see what he has to say. He doesn't post anything. He's not out there. I think it was Tom Pelisseri that was the first one to release his statement. He got the call from someone inside, the Bills organization who gave him McDermott's statement. The Buffalo Bills on X alone, let's see, have 1.8 million followers on X. And the Buffalo Bills PR page has 145,000 followers. So almost 2 million followers. They couldn't have done him the justice to put his message out there to all of the Buffalo Bills followers. Like it or not, he did a lot for not only the football team in the franchise, but quite frankly, all of Western upstate New York and everybody that likes the Buffalo Bills across the planet. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I'm not happy with that. It's just silly. You misspell your gosh forsaken press release that says you're firing your head coach who was there for 9 years. What? We're going to get into Brandon Beane in a moment, too. So give me a second, but let's take a look at some of these. Hanson Bros Outdoors. If your ingredients are bad, do you fire the chef or the guy who's getting the ingredients? Extremely good point, and I heard someone else say the same thing. if you're talking about a husband and wife, and one of the two, or what spouses, and one of the two goes grocery shopping, the other one cooks the food. If the food is bad, is it the person that bought horrible produce, or is it the person that can't cook? Don't know, and we'll get into that. Jabs 95 says both. Well, I guess that could be, and that's what a lot of people think. I understand where you're going with that, and that's what a lot of people think. Chris Henry, what's up, Chris? How are you, man? Horrible day, isn't it? Really horrible day. The day after we get blown out of the playoffs, we can go through that game too by one of 100,000 different reasons. Then the one bright spot that we have, Aaron Kromer, our offensive line coach, who coached the best offensive line in football, decides to hang it up and retire. And then the following day, our head coach gets fired. I guess it's pretty bad to go to the playoffs 7 years in a row, 6 or 7 years in a row, win 5 straight division titles up until this year. I don't know. Largemouth Hunter, wrong person fired, 100% backstabber Bean. Largemouth Hunter, I wish you know what, I'm going to. I think this thing allows me to star a comment. I'm going to do that right here. I'm beginning to really think that you're 100% right. I'm getting there. Seems like every 20 minutes I read or hear something additional to this situation, and I will elaborate there in a moment. Hanson Bros, hit that like button on the way in. Yeah, please. Would you? Thank you. Everybody needs to. It's against the law if you don't. Pagula might fire you, actually. And type up something that it's not even English. Type up a sentence that has no words in it. Largemouth Hunter, Bean-controlled picks and roster, so we can look forward to more Von Miller and Curtis Samuel pickups. Oh, boy. Don't get me started, please. I don't want to talk about that. Sarah Ciccinetti. Oh, Sarah, I think you were in here the other night. How are you? McDermott will absolutely get another head coaching job. Oh, as quick as he wants to. I can think of a number of teams that should be actively courting him. How about every single team that doesn't have a head coach right now? He literally is the number one head coaching candidate in the NFL that does not have a job. Tell me one that's better. We can argue that. I mean, obviously you're agreeing as well, but I'll argue that against, with anybody. To be honest, in 9 years, we have gone as far as the Patriots have gone in 2. Never even sniffed a Super Bowl. Largemouth Hunter, I can't argue that. However, I don't know what side you're on, but is that solely, utterly Sean McDermott's fault? And Sean McDermott's faults only, I guess, would be my question. You're not wrong, but in the situation we're in, is firing McDermott, time will only tell, but is firing McDermott going to immediately bring us to a Super Bowl? I hate to say this. I hope so. But I still, at this very moment, I'm not thrilled about the way that they did it, maybe. Maybe I'm more upset about that than actually doing it. I don't know. We'll talk through it. This college football championship, by the way, is 0-0. Miami just punted to Indiana with 8:48 left. They're going to start their drive on their own 29. Largemouth, I agree that something needs to change. However, I'll also argue that the wrong guy got fired. It's wild to me that Bean got promoted instead of fired. There we go. We're going to get back into that too. I just want to get through all these. Sorry, I said that earlier. They got it wrong. Josh played awful. 5 turnovers. Tom Brady in the house again. Well, he had 4 turnovers, and because Brandon Cooks fumbled as well. 5 turnovers, yes, in totality. Yes, I believe that they did get it wrong. I think that we are not, or they, I should say, the Bills, as if I'm one of them, got this wrong, and we'll get into why I think it happened. Vrabel in New England, already an AFC Championship game, won the East. Obviously you can't argue that. Those are stone cold facts, and it's 100% true. This kid from Indiana rolls to his right, throws the ball 20 or so yards, incomplete. Flag on the play. Dude McBoob. The Bills could go undefeated if they hired Jerry Glanville, Jim Harbaugh, or Bill Laimbeer. Well, okay. Bill Laimbeer. Like the season, I'm sad and excited about the change. Yeah, you got to find something to be excited about, right? To get through the offseason. I like McD, dislike Beans, bargain bin mindset. That's where it's kind of been, it seems, yes. And somehow, even with the product that we've put on the field all year, I'm not even saying good or bad. I'm just saying with the product that we've put on the field all year, I think we're right now, as it sits, projected to be, I've heard anything between $3 and $10 million over the cap for next year. Of course, odds are they'll raise the cap again like they do almost every year, but we literally don't have money to spend. Not that we're broke necessarily, but per the salary cap, we're already spending more for next year, slated to spend more for next year than the salary cap allows us to with the team that we have. So at this moment, unless you get rid of somebody that is garnering an enormous paycheck, or you get somebody to renegotiate their contract, or you get someone to buy out or trade for one of these guys that are slated to make decent money next year, then you don't even have money to make a free agent signing. That could be an issue. Josh glazed too much. Dude, the Bills should pick a player from Michigan with every draft pick. That's the sure route to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it used to be Alabama, right? Not so much anymore. Or Ohio State. How's C.J. Stroud doing from Ohio State? Oh, my gosh. I literally think C.J. Stroud might go down as the worst playoff quarterback to ever play in the NFL, unless he severely turns it around and they get another chance next year. With that defense, though, they'll probably be back in the postseason. Who was pulling the strings behind the scenes? McDermott hired Bean. So who had that power? Okay. It's a great question, and let's get into that. Largemouth Hunter says, wrong person fired, 100% backstabber Bean. And Hanson Bro says, who was pulling the strings behind the scenes? Here's my belief. It started out great, as do most. New relationships, new jobs, new situation. Everybody thinks that they're going into the situation that's the greatest situation to ever happen. It's going to be perfect. Nothing could be better. This is the greatest place ever. These are the greatest people ever. I'm in euphoria, and I will be for the rest of my life. There's no difference between if you just got hired by an NFL organization or if you are in everyday real world at the job that you currently work at. There's no difference. People will feel that way as soon as they start a new job. I've done it. And in this instance, I think everybody felt that way. And things were trending. And Josh Allen turned into Josh Allen. Not in the first year or two. People were all pissed off that he got drafted out of Wyoming. Then a couple years in, everyone was like, oh, shit. This guy is the real deal. We might have something here. So they got even more excited. Good. Valid. Fair. Then as things go on, they don't make the Super Bowl for a couple years. They lose in the playoffs. Basically to Patrick Mahomes 43 times in a row. And then it's, oh, wow. Whose fault could this be? Are we not going to get over the hump? Is this the Buffalo Bills? Is this just never going to happen? We need to invest ourselves into what you call what it is. One year they had the best defense in the league. The next year they had no running game with Brian Dable. They could throw the ball, but Josh Allen had 25 interceptions or 25 turnovers. So it was, let's change that. Then it was, get rid of Dable as offensive coordinator because he doesn't know how to run the football. That's what we need. Sean McDermott, obviously, is a defensive-minded head coach. He wants to ground and pound. He wants to slow the game down, time of possession, play defense. Brandon Beane says, well, I can't keep taking this freaking heat because everybody wants to see Josh Allen throw for a gabillion yards and 77 touchdowns every year. So let's go try to get him some wide receivers, right? Then, last few years, defense has started to turn downward. So what does Brandon Beane do this offseason in the draft? Defensive lineman. Cornerback. Maxwell Hairston seems to me as if he's going to be a really good first-round pick. One of the last picks in the first round. Obviously, injuries is a whole nother argument, although it should probably be covered. But he went down in preseason. He came back, showed his teeth immediately, shutting down Xavier Worthy against the Chiefs, which obviously was a nemesis of the Bills. And quite frankly, I think they drafted him solely for that purpose. It's like years ago when baseball teams, when before the rules changed to where a relief pitcher had to face at least 3 batters, teams would literally sign relievers to face 1 batter from their division rival. Literally, I remember Graham Lloyd for the New York Yankees was signed, a submarine left-hander who was about 6'10". They literally signed him solely to face David Ortiz from the Boston Red Sox. So I think that was what Maxwell Harrison's signing was for. Hey, man, we need to stop Kansas City Chiefs' speed, who's killed us over the last few years. 13-second game. That could have been soft defense, not aggressive enough. We can make this list go on and on about arguments, but here's the thing. McDermott and Bean, albeit, yes, were really good, and it was like, what do they call that? The perfect match, just like every other relationship is on day one in sports and in the real world and in jobs and everything. Well, then it started to be, whose fault is it that the Bills can't make it to the dance? Whose fault is it that they are not a Super Bowl team? Whose fault is it every time they see Patrick Mahomes, which is damn near every single year in the postseason, they beat him in the regular season, and then they lose to them in the postseason? Whose fault is that? And obviously, we don't know all these conversations that are happening behind closed doors with Pegula, without Pegula. But I can almost guarantee after the way that this whole thing went down that Brandon Beane, and I'm highlighting this comment here from Loudmouth Hunter, literally went to Terry Pegula and said, here's the deal. This isn't my fault. There was a conflict of power, a struggle of power, a pull of power. I'm telling you that look at what I have done, which is I drafted Josh Allen. That's the greatest thing that's ever happened to the Buffalo Bills since you have owned this franchise. That was all me. That's a win. Sean McDermott has won the argument over the years of who we should draft, who we should sign, what the outlook or the way that our team looks, what is our identity, has been Sean McDermott. That's not winning. So we get rid of Sean McDermott, allow me to make my decisions like I did before Sean McDermott had a huge say, which was back in the beginning of our tenure. And it's his fault. Look at how we've lost these playoff games. Josh Allen has been phenomenal. You cannot complain about Josh Allen losing playoff games until Saturday, by the way. But up until Saturday, it's never been Josh Allen. It's been our defense. Sean McDermott is a defensive coach. We've given up big leads. Josh Allen has come off the field with less than 2 minutes multiple times with the lead in a playoff loss. That's not on my draft pick. That's not on my guy. This happens way too often. But when I read that first release, that misspelled release from Pegula that said that Brandon Beane was not only not getting fired, but was getting a promotion, and they were creating a new job that the Bills do not have for him, which is president of football operations, it says to me that Brandon Beane not only steamrolled his guy in Sean McDermott, but also wanted to create a little wrinkle to where I feel, after thinking about this all day, I feel that Brandon Beane is actually going to hire a general manager of his choice, probably after the draft. He's the president of football operations. Then there's a general manager and the coach. Now Brandon Beane has layered himself with even another scapegoat, another person under him that he can blame in the event that the Bills don't make it to the Super Bowl. This is a calculated move that I know he's not the first person to ever do it, and he won't be the last. But it's kind of frustrating me that he simply won't say, you know what, I effed up. Not only did he go on the local Buffalo radio station earlier this year, boys, for asking about what his idea of turning up the wide receiver room and getting more production out of the wide receiver room, in which case his response was, what the hell are you guys talking about? What is all this talk about wide receivers? What do you think this is, fantasy football? Literally tore this guy down. Jeremy, I believe it was, tore him down, gave him a hard time. Listen, man, you're the general manager of the Buffalo Bills. Every decision based on that roster, you should be held accountable for. Unless what you're saying is it was all Sean McDermott's decisions, in which case, why didn't you just say it then? Who knows? Maybe he's been saying this to Pegula for 2 years, and we just don't know about it. I don't know. Couple of things that crossed my mind here. Sean McDermott is known, just like he proved with his goodbye and thank you, to be extremely respectful to everyone and have class with everything he does, right? I've never heard him say a curse, cuss, swear word, whatever it is you call it. I don't really remember him saying it in his life, at least with my ears, unless it was just simply a joking manner. After that game against Denver, when he literally says, "I'm sticking up for Buffalo, damn it," and I'm quoting him, I was a little thrown off. He never speaks bad about the refs. He never blames anybody else except for himself and taking ownership of the way that these guys play, But he never gets to the level that he got. And then you go to Twitter at the end of the game or after the game, a couple hours later, and let me find this. Jay Skursky, proud Buffalo Bills beat writer at the Buffalo News. I'm going to pull this up here. At the end of the game, or after the game, when they were traveling home, he said that he actually got a phone call from Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott was on the plane home from Denver. But he got a phone call from Sean McDermott, and Sean was explaining to him how he was watching the replay of the catch/interception with Brandon Cooks over and over and over. He finally got to watch it 20 or so times, and that he had told him that by no stretch of the imagination is that an interception, and how in the world, basically I'm paraphrasing, how in the world is that not a catch? I cannot believe that's not a catch. So Jay Skursky, again, people literally tweet like 8,000 times a day, so I'm trying to find this from him. Jay Skursky said, "I cannot believe that I got a phone call from Sean McDermott on the plane. This is probably the only time that I will ever have this happen to me, that a head coach calls me on the plane ride home to basically vent about a bad call by the referees." Sean McDermott doesn't do that. Oh, here we go. Found it. Let me pull this up. I want to share this tab instead. Okay, right here. This was January 18th. What time was it? 8:47. Oh, so he tweeted this out the next day. He tweeted this out yesterday. Sean McDermott calling me from the team plane to stress that Cook's play was a catch is so unusual. It probably won't happen again in my career. That was telling to me as well. So he cursed in his presser, complained about the refs, and then called a beat writer knowing that he was going to publish that to complain about the refs some more on the plane ride home. Sean McDermott knew this was coming. That's my take. Sean McDermott absolutely knew this was coming. And every few seconds, I think about something else. Now, I just 5 minutes ago was talking to the family here, and I said, well, Josh Allen was crying. Deion Dawkins was then crying. Brandon Cooks was then crying. Did all of these guys know? Was there something that was not made public? Was there something some note or conversation that was given to Sean McDermott at some point throughout the season that says, hey, bud, this is it for you. If it doesn't happen this year, you're out. I don't know. The thumbnail of this video is Sean McDermott the night before the last game in Highmark against the New York Jets. The night before, which I will also bring up. This is Sean McDermott. Lights on in the stadium, empty, the night before the last game. It's almost as if, he's by himself in the snow, staring down the field from one goalpost to the next. I mean, obviously it's a cinematic photo and it looks great and all this other stuff. But I don't know. You think about all this stuff now, it almost makes me think, you know what? Somebody told him, Brandon Beane or Terry Pegula himself told him, you know what, Sean? Sorry. We got to get this done because we're running out of real estate here with Josh Allen's career. And if we don't make it to the Super Bowl and or win a Super Bowl, if this is not the year, then we're going to have to move on. I really honestly think that happened. So his reaction after the game, I think, was trying to mitigate or eliminate the fact or the chance that he was about to be let go. I don't know if I'm off the wall thinking that, but you put all these things together, it's like, well, I don't know. Like, not trying to make a conspiracy, but it really looks that way to me. And the way that Brandon Beane and the Buffalo Bills have handled this so far, sour taste in my mouth for a guy that has done so much for your franchise. So to answer that original question, yes, or that statement, I think he was backstabbed. I think he was steamrolled. I think the bus absolutely was driven over the top of him. And I think that Brandon Beane was a hell of a salesperson in Pegula's office, selling the fact to Pegula that it wasn't him, that it's Sean McDermott. The reason that they have not been to a Super Bowl. That's what I think happened. And now Brandon Beane, because listen, even if you can, we can admit that Sean McDermott is maybe not the perfect football coach. Okay, fine. But is Brandon Beane so good that he deserved a promotion when Sean McDermott gets fired? Was there that stark or drastic of a difference between the two? Is it easy to say, oh, yeah, definitely not Brandon Beane. It's 100% Sean McDermott. Well, why the heck did it take so long then? If it's glaring that it's Sean McDermott is the issue that the Bills, or the reason that the Bills have not been to a Super Bowl, then why has he lasted 9 years? As the owner of a franchise, if you know you have a solidified issue with the man at the helm of the football team, if you know this, stone cold, lead pipe locked, that's the problem. I don't think you wait 9 years with your billion-dollar asset, which is the Buffalo Bills. Like, would you? I don't know. I wouldn't. I don't know a sports franchise, but I don't think I'd wait that long. Not at all, especially because you got a $2+ billion stadium set to be your home field next year. And Sean McDermott doesn't even get a sniff of it. Come on. You wouldn't even be able to build that stadium if Sean McDermott and Josh Allen were never in town. You wouldn't even be able to build that stadium. Let's be honest here. The Bills should pick a player. Oh, we said that. Who's pulling strings behind them? So I think the strings that were being pulled was absolutely Brandon Beane, Hanson Bros. I think Brandon Beane was in the ear of Terry Pegula for, well, I guess I can't decide how long. I can't tell you how long that was, but I don't think this happened overnight. I think this is a planned decision is my point. I think this was let's look at it this way. If we make it to the Super Bowl this year, well then, or win the Super Bowl, though, why the heck would we definitely can't fire Sean McDermott now, then, even if we wanted to, right? But if we don't, then we need to have a plan, and this is the year. We're going to go into the new stadium reinvigorated and be all, set for that, which, by the way, if the Bills don't come up with something ridiculous as part of their plan, they better watch out. With the amount of money that they've been charging people to have tickets in this new stadium, they better be putting out an A++ product. That's all I'm saying. The Bills are missing that O.J. Simpson-like determination. McD fired, Beane a raise, and promoted. That's exactly what I'm saying, largemouth. Like, it doesn't sit well with me. Now Beane can really do like Doug Whaley. No shoot. Defense. Paul D says defense. Defense is probably going to be another problem. We got a lot of money on some of these guys. A lot of injuries, yes. Hopefully, though, I think between Ed Oliver and Michael Hoyt, I think that would have been a different defense all year. So do you feel that Bean is still on the hot seat pending the draft? If if Brandon Bean is on the hot seat after the draft, pre-season, you mean? Like prior to the season starting? Then Terry Pegula is pulling the ultimate survivor move that we've ever seen. What a play Terry Pegula would be making if Brandon Bean is on the hot seat right now, the same day that he was given a raise and they created a new job title for him. What a move that would be. Literally, he'd go down in Survivor history as the greatest player ever. That would be some stuff. Paul D. We had the lead, 4 minutes left. Oh, D's. Okay, Denver drove 75 yards. Listen, I know we can point. You talk about that divisional playoff game. We can talk about 53 different things that if we did not do a certain way, we absolutely would have won that game, because this is no shot to the Denver Broncos. The Buffalo Bills outplayed them. They were by far the superior football team. Self-inflicted wounds. 100%. And to Paul D's point, the thing that really frustrated me with that last drive is on 3rd and 11, after 2nd and 11, when you sent the blitz and you were rushing either 5 or 6 people, you got in Bo Nix's face, you deflected a ball, goes straight to the ground for incomplete. 3rd and 11, you rush 4, who we haven't gotten any pressure on a quarterback with rushing 4 pretty much all year. You drop back to your soft like Tampa 2, maybe a cover 3 defense, which is just soft and weak. And he hits Cortland Sutton for 15 yards in between the 2nd and 3rd layers of the defense. Easily. Did not take an NFL quarterback to make that throw. So I'm with you there. Dominic Orsini. So if Cooks catches the ball, McDermott is still the coach. You know what? I don't know. Well, he wouldn't have been fired, obviously, the week in between the divisional and the AFC Championship game. But the way that this whole thing went down, I think it was Super Bowl or McDermott's fired. That's really what I think that the situation that he was in. It came from the VOR. What's up, man? Maybe it's just that good old Buffalo luck between the Sabres and the Bills. How many times have we almost got over the hump just to get our hearts ripped out? I think we were just cursed. You know what? I said this either yesterday or the day before. This is my fear, that both players and the front office and all of Bills Mafia and people that live here in upstate and Western New York, or anywhere for that matter, are going to resort to that, which is, I think we are just cursed. And my goodness, I hope not. I don't want to feel that way. So close so many times. We can't go backwards. That's my real gut feeling. Not that we will. I shouldn't say feeling. That's my fear, is that we try to improve upon the stagnant situation that we're in, which I understand, which is, divisional round, AFC Championship round every year, never make the Super Bowl. But that's not that bad. Like, if we try to take a long shot to try to get over that hump and we go backwards, then that was a horrible decision. Those decisions that these guys have to live with, because they're in the positions and they're making the money to have to live with those. So I hope not. And I also hope that Pegula is not making the same choice with the Buffalo Bills that he just did with the Sabres, which ended up turning out pretty decent, but not until that GM, I think, got 2 or 3 coaches fired before he was fired. Am I wrong with that? It came from the VOR. I'm not huge into the Sabres, but I believe that the GM got fired like 3 games into their 10-game win streak. However, before he got let go, multiple coaches had prior to that. And then once he got let go, what happened? Well, they took off, and they're one of the better teams like in the NHL now. Like, I hope that's not the case. I hope he's not thinking, well, shit, it worked for the Sabres a month ago, 2 months ago. It's got to work in football too. Like, oh boy, I hope that's not it. Zachary Swartz. I think that Bean is a snake and drafted 2 Pro Bowlers, put this franchise in cap hell, can't make a move for a wide receiver, then apologizes for it. What an ego on the man. every minute that goes by, I'm feeling more and more the same way. I hate to say that the man is a snake. I don't know him. But he really, really did Sean McDermott dirty there. I mean, there's just no – you can't argue that. There's no getting around it. It was definitely one or the other. A lot of people think it should. If it was going to be at least one of them, it should have been both of them, either Bean only or both of them. And I would almost understand, truthfully, if it was both of them. If the Pegula family says, you know what? Yes, we have Josh Allen. He's going to be 30 next year. How many more years do we have of his prime? Not many. Our window is starting to close. We're in the latter third of our opportunity with him. We need to clean house and start over. That is a respectful decision in my part, in my mind. Just the head coach, though, and not Bean, I don't know, because look at the product. Look at the product that Bean has on the football field. Now, Bean, clearly, if he were to tell the truth, if asked, he would say, oh, no, this is McDermott calling the shots. Well, you're the general freaking manager, okay? But here's the problem with the Buffalo Bills, and I hope that they've thought about this before they will let him go, McDermott. The Buffalo Bills run their organization until today. Now there's a president of operations. But until this happened, Sean McDermott answered to Terry Pegula. Brandon Bean answered to Terry Pegula. The coach didn't answer to the general manager. The general manager didn't answer to the coach. They all answered to Terry Pegula individually. How in the world does that work for communication? Right? Found out today also that the training staff even answered or reported to Brandon Bean. Hence the reason why every time that Sean McDermott got up on the presser and was asked about an injury to a said player, he would say, I haven't heard about that yet. Well, no kidding, because the training staff didn't even answer to the damn head coach. They were answering to the general manager. How silly is that? That is ridiculous. The guy that's responsible for saying who's going to be playing and in what role they're going to be playing doesn't even know about the injuries, because the people that do know about the injuries don't report to him. If I'm a head coach with a history and a proven track record, there's no way in hell I'd go into a situation where I don't even know who I'm answering to and I have no say in anything. It's like a Jerry Jones type deal in Dallas. No, thank you. Paul D. McDermott might have had to make or even win the Super Bowl. I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. Can't help but think Josh would have a ring on another team. Oh, boy. Just like when Dominic Hasek went to the Red Wings, got it done in a year or two. I was talking about that with somebody at work today. I don't think it's going to happen, but the very dark thought crossed my mind. Is Josh Allen going to be a Bill? And for how long? I don't know that he would win on another team. I don't know. And if you say that he wouldn't, then maybe you're kind of admitting that it's Josh Allen that's cursed or gets so wound up and tight and nervous in big spots. I don't know. I'm just making this up. His playoff numbers were as good as anybody in football, quite frankly, before Saturday. But I don't know. There's a couple of teams. Yeah, probably. Well, if Josh Allen was on the Houston Texans right now, he'd win a Super Bowl. That's a guarantee. If he was on the Seattle Seahawks, he would win a Super Bowl. That's a guarantee. Imagine Josh Allen on the Houston Texans right now. Oh, boy. Bean is going to hire a GM. I agree. That's exactly why I think that they did that. I think that he is the president of football operations, so he has the sign-off and the ability, the autonomy to make whatever decision he feels necessary, even if it means hiring a general manager. My understanding is that these general managers don't make millions and millions and millions of dollars. Some of them do, maybe $1 million, maybe $800,000, maybe 1.5 with some bonuses. You know, it's not like he's going to break Terry Pegula's bank to throw in a general manager there. But I think, based on the way that this all went down, I'm starting to think that Brandon Bean will hire a general manager simply so there's more scapegoats for him in the event that they don't make it happen within Josh Allen's tenure. I really, really think that. I think McDermott wins the Super Bowl before the Bills do at this point. Zachary, although I don't want that to happen, but for Sean McDermott, I hope he gets one. Put it this way. I hope the Bills win it next year, and then Sean McDermott, wherever the hell he lands up, wins it the year after. Bean cusses out people for an opinion. Great leader. Yeah, people doing their job that cover the Buffalo Bills for the local radio station. Buffalo motivated. McD deserved better than what Bean gave him. 100% agree. 100% agree. But I'm going to put the Pagulas in there too. Not just Bean. The Pagulas had everything. They own the dang thing. They have the ability to represent the parting of ways in a better fashion and a better light than they did. Can't even. Doesn't all this software, like this started like, I'm 39. When I was in school, Microsoft Word would spell check for you. Or if there was a sentence that didn't make sense, even though all the words were spelled correctly, because admirable and admiral, they were both spelled right, I guess, but they just used the wrong word. It would put that little squiggly line under the damn thing and say, "What? This doesn't make sense. You can't use the word admiral in this fashion. That doesn't make sense." It would make like a green squiggly line, and it would tell you, doesn't make sense. Like, you're the Buffalo Bills. You can't put the right word in the damn quote. We know that it was the wrong word because a couple hours after they originally put it out, if you went back to it, it had been edited to then say admirable instead of admiral. If McDermott had been warned, he would have been calling the defense. I think he was blindsided. I think that McDermott has been calling defense since about week 12. And I think that's why the defense played a hell of a lot better in the second half of the year than they did in the first. No, that makes sense. Largemouth. Bean says, "Hey, Sean, 2 D guys, but they're suspended for drugs. Yeah. And 2 wide receivers, but on the IR. Can you work with it?" McDermott. Well, yeah. No kidding. No kidding. Largemouth, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't we that Ogunjobi and Hoyt were suspended for the first 8 games like the day after we signed them? If I'm not mistaken, I literally think it was the day after. Oh, man. I mean, listen, I love the Hoyt sign. I do, and we got really, go figure, we got some really bad luck there with him going down with that Achilles. He was playing like a freak out there up until the time he got hurt, and I hope he gets back healthy and gets on that football field next year because I'm really looking forward to him wreaking some havoc. But I think it was the day after that we found that out. I really do. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Bean had been planning this behind the scenes while McD was busy taping together an injured roster and bad draft picks. That's where my head is, Buffalo motivated. I phoned John. He should have fired everyone. McDermott didn't deserve to be the scapegoat. Agreed. So John, are you saying that you think that Pagula should have fired McDermott and Bean? I think that's what you mean there. If Cooks catches that ball, Sean would have survived another week. Well, yes, of course. They definitely would not have, because if he caught that ball, if that was a catch, McDermott even said, I think we might have even considered kicking the field goal on first down. I think they would have at least ran the ball once to get the ball. That was on the right hash, to get the ball to the left hash mark, because we all know that Matt Prater's ball fades from his left to his right. On all the extra points, he kicks from the left hash. But, yeah, they might have kicked it on second down. It would have been a 35, 37-yard field goal. So, yeah, he definitely would have been fired midweek before the AFC Championship game. No, he didn't. Remind me what you mean, Jab S95. No, he didn't. Didn't do what? Who are your top 3 candidates for head coach, and who are 3 to stay away from? Okay. Great question. My understanding of the rules are as follows. If a team is in the playoffs right now, you cannot speak to their coaching staff until they're out of the playoffs, which would make complete sense, right? You don't want to just mess with a team and their coaches before they're done in the playoffs. You want their attention to be, in the right light. I like Clint Kubiak, offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. So very distinct chance that if the rule that I just stated is correct, that we wouldn't be able to talk to that man until mid-February, which is, in my opinion, a problem because, weeks and weeks and weeks, teams are already getting ready, game plans, rosters, scouting for the draft. Whoever the head coach is, you would assume, and I know we're talking about who had what power and who decided what, but the head coach should be a really big, integral part in who you want to draft according to the direction that he wants to bring the football team. I know that he would probably be my number one at the moment, but I would probably have to sit on this also and get back to you for my definitive number ones. If I'm being honest with you, my main number one, and this is just far-fetched cry and it's never going to happen, I actually think that Bill Belichick needs to come to the Buffalo Bills. I'd rather an offensive-minded head coach, which Bill Belichick is not necessarily. He's a defensive guy, and we've been through a couple defensive head coaches. But I think that one of the things that I will say about Sean McDermott, if I were to try to grade him, is that I think he was actually a little bit too soft on Josh Allen. I think that I would have loved to see him kind of get in Josh Allen's head a little bit more with reality. Hence, the fumble that Josh Allen coughed up at the end of the first half on Saturday's game against the Broncos. He needs someone like a Belichick to tell him before they go out there for that last drive with only 16 minutes left, hey, bud, we're down 7. We get the ball to start the second half. I want to score as bad as you do. There's 16 seconds. The only thing that you better not freaking do within 16 seconds is cough the football up, trying to make a miraculous play to gain 7 yards, by the way. It's not like they would have been anywhere closer to scoring a point. Do not turn the football over no matter what. Or he just makes a call into Joe Brady upstairs and say, Joe Brady, this is my team. I respect you. I trust you. We're taking a freaking knee, and we're going to take the ball in the second half. We're going to run it down their throat, and we're going to tie the game in the first possession. Things like that, I do feel that Sean McDermott sometimes may have given Josh Allen a little bit too much of a leash and not as much of a reality. But you also have what everyone calls Josh Allen as a stallion, and he needs to run. And I get it. So, which leads me to my next point. One of the top names that are being thrown out there at this very moment is Brian Daboll. Obviously, a coach for the Buffalo Bills years ago, led Josh Allen to his biggest gaudy offensive numbers of his career when he was young. Does not mean that he did not turn the ball over a lot during those seasons, which he did. You could say maturation and just understanding, how to play football in the NFL and the speed and the defensive reads would come in time anyways. Generally, don't see a rookie or a second-year quarterback throw no interceptions if they're such a gunslinger like Josh Allen is. But he's a Buffalo native. He understands the culture. He understands Bills Mafia. That is a strong possibility. I don't know if, for me, he's a head coach. I would not mind Daboll as an offensive coordinator because I don't think Joe Brady's going to be the offensive coordinator next year. We can get into that too. The three that I would like to stay away from, we're not going to go defense, so I don't think that we go after or try to get Mike Tomlin off the couch. I don't think that would work. I know Mike Tomlin's had a phenomenal career, and he's proven that he can make the playoffs forever in a day, and he's won a Super Bowl. He knows how to win Super Bowls. I don't think that he's much of a difference from a McDermott for me in terms of the game that he plays. Great coach. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just don't know that he's a fit here for a Josh Allen-led Buffalo Bills. I also would stay away, personally, from Mike McDaniels from Miami, who got fired, whatever it was, right after their season. Mike McDaniels is another guy that I wouldn't mind having as an offensive coordinator, but I don't think Mike McDaniels is a head coach type, especially for the Buffalo Bills. And to put it nicely, I don't know that a man that wears capri pants on the sideline with aviator sunglasses will fit in too well in Western New York as the captain of the ship. Nothing against him. I think he's one of the brightest offensive guys that the NFL has right now. And because of that, I really, honestly wouldn't mind him being the offensive coordinator. So I'm not saying that he's one of the strong candidates. My understanding right now is that the Bills' top priority is actually Clint Kubiak and or Joe Brady. Believe it or not. And the other name that's popping up more and more and more is the quarterback's coach from the Denver Broncos, Davis Webb. That is popping up, and I'm reading a lot about that. So I would say my number ones are Kubiak. I mean, the long shot, of course. Bill Belichick. And he was already just hired, though, and this is the issue. I wouldn't have minded Stefanski. Wouldn't have minded him. So I would lean towards Kubiak, but the issue with doing that is you run the risk of waiting potentially until mid-February to even start talking to the man for a coin toss or a question mark. Because then if you can't grab him, then all these other names that are out there, then you might be kind of losing yourself an opportunity. But that's who I would want if I had my pick. And then the three, the people that I think we should stay away from are Tomlin, Mike McDaniels especially. I don't think that he should be the guy whatsoever. And I don't think, unfortunately, Daboll's the guy that I want. This is just my opinion, obviously. But I don't think that Daboll's the guy that I want as a head coach. Chris, go Bills no matter what. Well, I'm with you there, Chris. 14-2-10, absolutely. Go Bills. That's why we're still here. We're still going to be doing this. And we just hope that it moves us in the right direction. And, of course, we hope that Sean McDermott has a phenomenal career wherever he ends up, which my gut tells me he's going to Baltimore. McDermott always referred to a Nate about player info. I'm not sure what you mean. Like when he's talking, he was referring to Nate. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure what you meant by that. Rick Conklin, Pagula seems to have a major ego, and this move will definitely close the window for our chances. Well, first of all, I hope that it definitely does not close the window for our chances. I don't think that it's going to close it because anytime, in my opinion, that you have Josh Allen under center in his prime, the window is not closed. But there's not an owner in the NFL that is worth that kind of money that doesn't have an ego, if you really think about it. So I'm not too worried about his ego. It is what it is. They all have egos. Doesn't mean that he's a bright football mind, but he's a business guy, and he knows how to run, handle business, expand, He knows how to do that, clearly. I don't think Josh is going to leave Buffalo. I hope not, Sarah. I think he's committed to winning a ring for Buffalo. He's laid down some serious roots above. That's true. But the only thing that pops into my head when I think about this is, well, his wife, his new wife, is a Hollywood person. I mean, she spends she was just presenting awards at what were they? Golden Globe Awards. It's a pretty big deal for Hollywood. And Josh obviously is from California too, so he's definitely got roots out there. I don't know. I get worried. Probably overthinking it. They're going to revamp. Good. We should have more money now this year from the Vaughn and Diggs BS. Well, there's a lot of other things, though, that need to get out of the way. I mean, you got Terrell Bernard just signed an extension and barely even sniffed the football field. And when he was on the football field, he didn't really tackle anybody. Greg Russo, 4 years, $80 million, I believe. Couple of guys probably won't be around, unfortunately. Jordan Poyer didn't finish out the season. It's going to be hard for a guy that's aging to stay healthy. That's not going to work out too well. 2 free agent, or no, maybe even 3 free agent offensive linemen, Connor McGovern, David Edwards, and maybe even Osiris Torrance. Question mark is Osiris Torrance. We got to look that up. But the other 2 are going to be free agents. You're going to have to pay those guys. Right? Where's the money going to go? James Cook, thankfully, is solidified. You got Josh Palmer making about $11 million a year for the next 2 years. I don't know that anybody is going to take that contract over in terms of a trade. because he obviously didn't produce. Brandon Cooks, you're probably going to want to keep around, although I don't think that he's going to cost you, an abundant amount of money. Trying to think of the outliers. Dawson Knox is going to be a question mark. I hate to say it, because he's got a big chunk of money owed coming his way as well. I mean, he obviously produced well this year, but you're going to have some restructuring of some contracts and or get rid of some of the larger contracts for the guys that just were not producing. But then obviously if they're not producing for you, then why would somebody else want them? So it's going to be tough, but this president of football operations is going to have to figure it out. If he doesn't have a plan, then what the hell is he doing? He better have a plan. iPhone John, I have a feeling he's going to go to Miami. We're going to see him twice a year. Well, John, it's funny you say that. I'm not trying to be nasty. That is not going to happen. I'll show you why. I'll probably just tell you, but the Dolphins just a few hours ago signed hired a new head coach, the defensive coordinator from Green Bay, Jeff Hafley, and they also signed and hired a new general manager, John Eric Sullivan from the Packers. So both those guys are paired together, moving on over to the Miami Dolphins. So that job, that head coaching and GM vacancies are now filled. So that's one thing we don't have to worry about. We do not have to worry about seeing Sean McDermott twice next year as the Dolphins head coach. Currently 11. Oh, it's 11. Thank you, Zachary. I said I thought I saw between 3 and 10, $11 million over cap. Now, what do you think, Zachary? Will the NFL move the cap by another 20 million this year? Raise it like they did last year? I hope so. Rick Conklin again, McDermott, but the team that had players wanting to come to Buffalo, and now it's going to be recognized as a place where you have to watch your back if you don't agree with being Rick Conklin. You are so right. I can't agree with it more. Couple this all up with the immediate player reactions from the firing of Sean McDermott. Immediately, handfuls of players went to social media, Instagram, X, all of them not happy. Some real frustrations. Jordan Phillips, I think, was quoted saying, this is a, excuse my language, but this is a bunch of shit. The guy that was up in the air about coming back and playing another year, if he does play another year, he says it's definitely going to be in Buffalo. Well, Jordan Phillips is not coming back anymore. Your decisions have repercussions, Mr. Bean, Mr. Pagula. Please know that. Currently is the key word. Currently 11 million over. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have this up. I wanted to try to give people updates. 9-0 now, about to be 10-0 Indiana over Miami with 6:13 left in the second quarter. I mean, defensive battle, huh? You know what? What's yeah, Kurt Signetti. Why don't the Buffalo Bills hire him? Huh? Goes to Indiana, just completely destroys every team that they play. Looks like, I mean, it's only a 10-point game, but en route to win a national championship, undefeated, and not just beating teams, just decimating almost everybody. Talk about bringing a winning culture to a bad football program. Well, he certainly did that. Let's bring his ass to Buffalo next year. Largemouth, the day after. Yeah, I think you're talking about Hoyt and Ogunjobi. Found out the day after that. Oh, by the way, those guys you just signed, yeah, they're out for 8 freaking weeks. B knew about the suspensions prior to them signing. I'm pretty sure he said it in the presser. Okay, I wouldn't doubt that either. I mean, listen, the one showed up and showed out when he got off that suspension. Michael Hoyt, I put a couple videos up with film on him. Game wrecker. Absolute game wrecker. Ogunjobi, he's got to go. Maybe it was a Freudian slip, and they showed that Bean was more of a military dictator than a GM. You don't know. Sometimes you don't know. Really. Sometimes you don't know the inside of these organizations, right? No one's come out and said it. But sometimes you don't. Well, you never know. Nobody ever knows. Do you really, truly know the company you're about to go work for? Do you know the ins and outs unless, a family member of yours has worked there for years and years? You don't. You don't know. Until you live it, until you deal with it, until you see it and hear it with your own eyes, you're only just taking people's word for it. And just because one person thinks that some guy is a dictator doesn't mean that everybody thinks that way, right? So it depends on who you hear it from. Yeah, he should have fired both, not just one. That I could have got behind more. Still wouldn't have loved to see McDermott go, but I would be able to have understood the move from Pegula in the event that he let them both go. Because if he did, it's simply, I got to do something drastic in order to win a Super Bowl with the greatest quarterback that we've ever. No disrespect to Jim Kelly. Just saying with Josh Allen, there's no way we can't get to a Super Bowl. And I've given you guys, eight shots, and it hasn't worked, so I have to do something. And I think at that moment in time, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane probably would have said, well, this sucks, but I kind of get it. Pez 79. I think most of Bills Mafia rather have fired Beans. I'm tired of the way Beans drafts. Pez, you're not wrong, although, I can't speak for, millions of people, Bills Mafia, but I have not seen much of anybody saying, that's the move I would have made. Definitely McDermott's fault. Although there were how many people, anywhere you look for the last few years, saying McDermott's got to go. Sean stinks. Worst coach this. Worst coach that. Clock management. Doesn't do that. Those people, I don't even see nearly as many people now coming to the backing of the move that the Bills made, which is odd. Maybe it's just frustration and venting from a fan. And then when it really happens, it's like, oh my God, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean it. Bring him back. No, Sean. Most of my comments have been replies. No, all good, man. No worries. No problem. I'm just trying to hit everybody. It's no big deal. Not at all. So let's pull that up. That's a good point. We're going to pull up. Just saw this earlier, so I think I'll be able to find it. Real quick snapshot. There we go. Real quick snapshot. Hopefully I can find one that's bigger than that. All right, so we'll start here. We're going to start here. I don't know why. Okay, let's do this. I got to share my screen. Bear with me. Sorry about this. Draft picks. There we go. Okay, so here are the last few years of draft picks. This. We can go down. My screen. Bear with me. Sorry about this. Draft picks. There we go. For some reason, I'm hearing myself, and I don't know why. Okay, so here are the last few years of draft picks. Here are the last few years worth of draft picks. Anybody, bear with me. You guys can hear me, yeah? Draft picks. I was just hearing myself through this other monitor. I had to mute that. I don't even know where it was coming from. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, so here are the last few. Tell me if you guys of draft picks. Here are the last few years worth of draft picks. Anybody, you guys can hear me, yeah? 2023, not just hearing myself through this other monitor. I don't even know where it was coming from. Just wanted to make sure. Okay, here are the last few. Tell me if you guys can draft picks. Here are the last few years worth of draft picks. Anybody, you guys can hear me. Best offensive line in 2023. Not just hearing myself a little shaky. Right, this year I thought you did really well towards the second half. Okay, here are the last few. Tell me if you guys can draft picks. Quick on his feet. Here are the last few years worth of draft picks. Anybody, you guys can hear me. Justin Shorter, 2023. A little shaky. Right, this year I thought you did first round. We'll say that second half. Okay, here are the last few. Tell me if you guys can draft picks. Here are the last few. Everybody, Justin Shorter, 2023. Right, pick up a draft. Good first round. We'll say that's a huge hit. Here are the last few. Carter is big on it. Here are the last few. Everybody, Justin Davis is 2023. I think the draft good first round pick to turn it over, but that's where he kind of has. Doing a phenomenal job. And I want to back up here. Nothing here. Again, back up. Almost practice squad. Good. Nothing here. DJ Sanders. I still edge guy. Hope you're good. Landon Jackson, obviously, we don't know because he got injured. Deion Walker, love this. As good as a fourth round pick. Hope you're have a phenomenal in the middle of that guy's line. Hancock shows signs. Can it be something for us? We don't like his career. I like his season. Deion Walker, love this. As good as a fourth round pick. Great. Hope you're really become more dominating it. I don't know, in the middle of that player that you listen to because he's the best blocking tight end. Can it be something? Maybe in the league. Like already. Going strong. Like his season. Deion Walker, love this. I don't know if that's as good as a fourth round pick. Great. Hope you're really dominating it. In the middle. Players there. So because he's the best blocking tight end. Maybe in the league. Like already. Going strong. His last few years, I don't know if that's really dominating it. In the middle. There. So we shall see. Maybe it has not proven that he can go in strong. His last few years, I don't know if that's really dominating it. That's really there. So we shall see. Maybe it has not proven that he can go in strong. His last few years, I don't know if that's really dominating it. That's really there. So I'm telling you, we shall see. Maybe it has not proven that he can go in strong. Don't be mad at me. I think it's what they did. This is going to happen. You don't know about Belichick. Yeah, I think we've seen that. And Belichick doesn't allow. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I think it's what they did. This is going to happen. We'll spring up for this. You don't know about Belichick. Right now. Yeah, I think we've seen that. And Belichick doesn't allow. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at me. I think it's what they did. Fortunately, we'll spring up for this. I don't know. Right now, yeah, I don't think we've seen that. Belichick doesn't allow. Don't be mad at me. Oh, now we're talking. I think it's what they did. Fortunately, we'll spring up for this. Right now, yeah, I don't think we've seen that. Big true one. Don't be mad at me. Oh, now we're talking. I think it's what they did. Fortunately, there are multiple teams that have big legitimate wide receiver. One could be a one hole. Now we're talking. Don't even make the playoffs. There are multiple teams that have when they need big legitimate wide receiver. One and if you change your one hole, now we're talking. Don't even make the playoffs. Big trade I don't think they need to wide receiver. I don't know if you would change your one hole. Somebody that can run don't even make the playoffs. I agree. I don't think they need to could wide receiver. I don't know if you would change your one hole. Somebody that can run draft. Don't even make the playoffs. I still think there's a legitimate shot that Jalen Waddle ends up on this team, and I think there's a legitimate shot that Mike McDermott, the offensive coordinator, especially Joe Brady, either gets lifted to the head coach of the Buffalo Bills or gets signed as a head coach somewhere else, which it seems to me as if it's in the cards. I don't think that Joe Brady will be the OC next year. One of those two, I think, are going to happen. You get tougher luck conditioning coaches is the way how guys without injuries. Yeah, I mean, listen, the injuries were absolutely horrible this year. Couldn't get away from them. Seemed like there was something new every day during practice, before games. right after games, on Monday walkthroughs, like, you name it, it happened. Everything that I hear, though, from ex-players and or doctors and things are that it was literally bad luck and that every one of these, um, training cores for all of these teams are basically doing the same type of thing, and there's no way that something that they were doing could have led to more injuries. I'm not taking that, so I don't know enough to say that coming from me. I've just heard that from multiple trusted sources and trusted people in that area. So if being pres of ops now and hired GM, does that mean his hands are off of our drafts? Well, not this one, right? We're too close. We're too close to the upcoming draft for him not to be a big part of it. That's why I think, and I thought I said this earlier, and I may not have, and even if I did, it's okay. We've been talking a lot, but that's why I think that that GM wouldn't get hired until after the draft, because I think that the work that Bean has probably already done, putting in with scouting and things, getting ready for this draft, is there, and he's not going to give all that up for a new guy to come in, next week or next month and just draft whoever he wants. You know what I'm saying? If he makes that trade, I think we're still playing next week. Referring to Waddle. It's good. It's a good point. I think Jalen Waddle comes with Mike McDaniel. I still think, well, I shouldn't say that. If you asked me yesterday, I would have said that I think Jalen Waddle will still be a Buffalo Bill during the offseason. But now with all of this, who the hell knows? Who the hell knows what can happen and what will happen in terms of they got to have something up their sleeve. But in reality, the Miami Dolphins said, we'll give you Waddle if you give us a 2026 first round pick. McDermott or Bean says, no, we'll give you a 27 first round pick, though, for Waddle. The Dolphins said no. And Bean said, okay, see ya. You mean to tell me that you let Jalen Waddle walk for 1 year difference in first round pick, whether it's this upcoming season or you mean off season or the next? That's the word. And if that's true, that is silly and ridiculous, if you ask me. I was not happy about that myself. And there's a good possibility that Waddle could have done some things for us that would have even potentially created a 2 seed playing at home against the Denver Broncos. Well, no, we wouldn't have played the Denver Broncos. We probably would have played Houston, right? Yeah, we would have played Houston. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't even want to talk. It didn't happen. But if it did, things could have been different. You're absolutely correct. For head coach or for offensive coordinator? Yeah, he might not like it here. That's for sure. That is for sure. Bills will have 60 million cap this offseason. 60 million to spend? And where are you suggesting that they'll get that from? Who do you think is gone? Josh Allen? And there's 55 of that 60. Man, if we come up with 60 million somehow, either we're getting rid of some key components or every single one of the overpaid non-producers, which would be great if he can figure out a way to do that. I'm with you there. By the way, everybody, just want to let you know, I appreciate all of you in here. We got 81 people at the moment between all platforms here. Do me a favor, subscribe and follow this channel. To get all the notifications, well, and hit that notification bell as well to get all the notifications for when we go live, when we put up videos. It's going to be a busy off season. I can already feel it. We just started this channel a couple months ago. First time, really enjoying it, having some fun, starting to get some traction. Some people in here. Love all the interaction. It's fantastic. Um, and the best way to help us continue to do all this is to subscribe and follow us and hang out with us every time we're out here. So appreciate that. Just do me a favor to do that for me if you would. Let's continue here. Unrestricted. Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, David Edwards, Sam Franklin, okay, Gilliam, Hamlin. So if you were just looking this up right now, Zachary, thank you very much for that. Where is Connor McGovern? I'm almost positive McGovern is a free agent. Basically, as we speak. So let's go through this. Brandon Cooks, I think we should re-sign. Gabe Davis, as long as it doesn't take much, he should stay, I think. David Edwards, 100%. Although if it's between Edwards and McGovern, if it has to come down to that, which I hope it does, but if it does, I actually think that I would leave McGovern. Sam Franklin, I'd rather take Cameron Lewis. Reggie Gilliam, got to stay. Guy. More Hamlin, will probably be a Bill for life, I would assume, although he's a big McDermott guy. And he put out post today after the firing, too. He's not thrilled. He's sad about that. Jerry Mathis, okay. Jordan Phillips, there's no way he's coming back after his comment after McDermott was fired. Matt Prater, I think we can figure out a way to make him stay. Jordan Poyer probably stay in the team as long as he wants to play. Darnell Savage, oh, Shaq Thompson, yes. Trubisky, yes. Trey White, most likely. Wisnowski, and then you can make a case away. Darius Slay obviously does not want to be here, and the Bills just stuck it to him, and I didn't mind. Restricted. Alec Anderson, Spectre, and more. Was Spectre just on? No, he wasn't. I was just thinking of the futures contracts. They just signed 12 guys to the futures today. 295. Okay. 295.5. And what was it? I thought it was. Wait, that number's already out? So it was 279.2 this year. So that means it would go up. What is that? 16 or so million, which would be great. We'll take every dollar we can get. Right? Okay. Are you looking? All right. I see it. I see it. I see it. Yeah. Bill's currently minus 11.6, which really, it really isn't even close to the bottom, which is very surprising. In the league, very, very surprising. But yeah, we shall see. There's a lot of ways to maneuver and shift and save some monies and stuff like that. And the 11 million is over expected. Yep, yep, yep. He doesn't want anything to do with the NFL. Resigned with Indiana. Resigned. Oh, did he? Okay. Good for that guy. Some about him. I kind of liked him. He'll doubled up. What doubled up? I'm sorry. Annoying. Houston, we have problems and not a Stroud issue. Well, that guy, whoa, that was an issue. That was an issue what I saw on him. Something crashed bad. Oh, wait, what? Sound is looping. Can you hear me now? I'm getting some holy shit, Batman. What happened? George Pierce Sr., I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. It's looping the sound. We'll check that later, but killing my Monday bad vibe. Oh, shoot. Well, this is horrible. Somebody let me know. Yeah, we're straight now. Okay, good, good. So I see we're straight now. Huh, I wonder what happened. Nothing on my end would have caused me to know about that. Sorry about that, boys and girls. Let me get back to where we were. Large mouth. Sorry if you were hanging, my fault. Hanson Bros, sorry. George Pierce, my bad, bro. You got me. Sorry, sir. Um, where were we? Houston, we have problems and not a Stroud issue. Now I get what you meant. Okay. I was a little behind getting to these chats. Okay. Yeah. What's worse? CJ Stroud or that noise that you guys were all just hearing? After I closed that. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I don't know what that was. That was odd. Very, very weird. I'm not sure what that was. Is there a team that you would be okay seeing McDermott go to? Oh boy. I want him to go to a team that he's happy. I want him to go to a team that he will have a successful career. I'd love to see him go to the NFC because I really wouldn't want to play him. I definitely wouldn't want to play him. Some people are definitely gonna make arguments like, "Oh, I'd love to play against Sean McDermott in the playoffs. He doesn't know how to win games." Well, I simply would rather just not play against him, although it's inevitable it's going to happen. But I'd like to see him go to the NFC. Or, but you know what? I don't know. Let's look at these vacancies. A couple of them have been. I think, yeah, Stefanski went to Atlanta, right? So that's not going to help. All right, Baltimore, Arizona. He's not going to do that. I highly doubt he does that unless he wants to get some more. Baltimore, Buffalo, Cleveland, Raiders. I don't think that's going to happen. And Pittsburgh. Oh my God, they're all in the AFC. Yeah, see, I really think that he goes to I honest to goodness think that he goes to Baltimore. I think that's the best place for him. I mean, is it not? I mean, it's the best team. It's the best team. Unless he's kind of like what's his name? That ended up at in Arizona towards the latter part of his career. Oh, he just wanted a cigar and to be on a beach, I think. Uh, oh, somebody tell me I forget his name. Oh my word. I think that's the team. I'm not saying I'd be okay with it because I'd hate to play Lamar Jackson with him there, but for his sake, I'd like to see him go there. Okay, top receiver targets. Well, Jalen Waddle, I think, is feasible and could definitely happen. I would love to see, obviously, I mean, Justin Jefferson, like you just alluded to, that'd be great. Um, you could say the same for Jamar Chase. You know, a lot of options for the big, you know, the top dogs. I think we have to let's see this. So we're gonna have Khalil, hopefully Brandon Cooks. I'd like to see him stay. Um, Terrell Shavers hopefully can be back to go. I like that guy. I like him a lot. I think he's a huge asset. I think he should be on for a long time as long as he can, you know, get what he needs done with the surgery and get back healthy. Um, I'd like to see Keon Coleman stay and be used in the way that he should be used. He's not a wide receiver one. He's not an outside guy. I'd almost like to see him just more of a red zone threat and possibly even a big body slot, although it's tough to do when you have Shakir. I think that the draft, actually like this kid out of Miami. Don't think that he's going to last. I think as it sits right now, we'll have the 26th pick in the draft, right? If I'm not mistaken. But I like this dude. I think, yeah, Malachi Tony. I think he's a ready wide receiver. Um, I don't know if he's going to last, but if we were to go to, let's take a look at this. We're going to look at these wide receivers. Uh, I think George is going to be a free agent. A lot of people say that's not the mojo or the vibes that we want to see in Buffalo, which I guess I really couldn't argue or disagree with. Well, I want to look at wide receiver only. Oh, Christian Kirk, is he gonna be a wide? Oh man, Christian Kirk's gonna be a free agent. Debo, no. Dwayne Brown, Tutu Atwell, Adam Thielen, no, he retired. Juwan Jennings, no, thank you, not for me. Well, let me pull this up and see what everybody thinks. All right, what do we feel is a good look? I could see McGee going to Arizona. Really, Pez? Could you? Ethan, how are you, brother? Why do you guys think that that's an option for him? I don't see much. I mean, there's obviously can't really go much further than only one direction you can go is up there. Uh, I'm just curious as to why you think Arizona. My top three: Jeff Jefferson and Joe. Okay, yeah, Justin Jefferson all the way. Region Market Wires, then the Thompson resigned. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so we're looking at him here. I would say, well, Shaheed, he only signed a 1 year deal. Is that right? Hawkins, no, can't. I don't remember. Yeah, there's quite a few people on this list that are just like the type of wide receivers that we've been accustomed to, which I'd like to almost stay away from. Um, I like Christian Kirk. I don't think he'd be what we need in terms of the money versus the value personally. Um, a lot of older guys. Yeah, I mean, these are lower level receivers. Um, Romeo Dobbs, I mean, he's still doing some things. Uh, Romeo Dobbs, but you know what? That's just like a wide receiver 3, kinda like what we have right now. I think we have to go after either one of the big boys in trade, like you guys are alluding to, although you know what? I don't know, that Christian Kirk thing might I like Christian Kirk. Um, it might be something to peek at, but that's a lot of money as well. Uh, well, actually, no. Oh, yeah, okay, market value, right, $5 million. I was gonna say 18, I don't know. Juwan Jennings, honestly, I don't think Juwan Jennings is a $22 million a year guy. He's not gonna go anywhere, especially if they do well. I don't know, I think it's more so potential trade that you guys are talking about, but I really think it's draft stock and then getting Keon Coleman to do what, he should be able to do, which is produce in the red zone, in my opinion, and the 50-50 balls. But I think that Jalen Waddle is attainable. I really do. I'm gonna keep on going back to that, but I do think that Jalen Waddle is attainable. I would say that should be a big focus. Unless, you wanna really just go nutty and try to get after somebody like Justin Jefferson, which would be insane. But what do you have to give up for that? What's his market? 3 first rounders, I would assume in that area, 3 first rounders is probably what you'd have to give up for him. I mean, if we look at potential trade targets here, I mean, Detroit's never gonna wanna part with Amon-Ra. Um, JSN's not going anywhere. Olave had 100 catches, like it or not. Like it or That's kinda crazy, isn't it? Man, look at Kyle Pitts, 88 catches, 10th in the league with receptions. What about, who I like? And he actually probably biased because he beat the hell out of us. I like Drake London. I like big body guys. I like tall, strong wide receivers. That's just kind of like a preference of mine. Not to say that I don't love Jamar Chase, of course, but I think that especially in this type of offense, that's just what I gravitate towards. Just a preference. I like Drake London. I think that's somebody that maybe depending on what the Falcons are trying to do, they just signed a new head coach, so he's not going to go anywhere. They're not going to let him go. It'd be great to try to put something together for Tara McMillan down in Carolina as well. I don't think that can happen, but that'd be something I wouldn't mind seeing. I know there's been a lot of talk about AJ Brown leaving Philadelphia as well, somehow under some circumstance. That would, but these guys are going to cost a ton, whether it's draft capital, draft stock, or big. I don't know if we would have someone to actually give away. Have to be able to be players and draft stock. Yeah, it'd be great as it would, for the most part, but some teams have elite receivers and anything done also, and I don't know that unless that offense changes, the whole scheme of that offense, which could with the new OC, unless that changes, I don't know that a true wide receiver is really going to just get us over the hurdle. Not saying it won't. I'm just saying I don't know if it would. It very well could, though. Two at a minimum adjustment, yeah, I would almost say three, but you might be right. Two first and a third plus Keon. For JJ, Jettis, possible. Waddle would be great just for just Runner and Keon. I tend to agree more in this realm of what Jefferson would require. If you could get Jefferson for a first rounder and Keon Coleman, sign me up. And I am Keon Coleman's guy online for the Buffalo Bills. 100%. It's maybe wild, but they won't move him because I kind of like Garrett Wilson. Oh, listen, when the Jets were giving away the house at the trade deadline, I said it. I posted it. I could probably find it. It would take me forever. I'll go back on X. I said, okay, you're not calling the Jets for Garrett Wilson. But I think some other teams tried to as well, and they just didn't do it. Which was odd, right? I thought that was odd. But they were giving away the house, and I was like, let's roll, baby. I like Garrett Wilson. I do. First, third, and Coleman for Jefferson. I think the Bills would be silly not to do that if that was offered. Honestly. Now, the issue with that, though, is let's see where he's sitting contract-wise. Okay, so he's in a 4-year, $140 million contract. And we are 11 million under or over the cap. 26 cap hit. 2026 cap hit is 39 million. So you give up your first and the third rounder, Keon Coleman, that's costing you next to nothing. But then you got to pay him $39 million next year unless you can just go like this and extend him, restructure that. So it's 39 next year. It's 43.5 in 27, and it's 47.5 in 28. I don't know. I just don't see where they can come up with that. But this is why people are getting so expensive and they're getting so much quarterbacks. There's not enough money left over for a full roster. There's just not. Look at Cincinnati. How bad is that defense? Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins. I get they're all worth big money, but the salaries that are increasing, right? The average annual value is increasing faster than the salary cap is. So they're getting paid more in comparison to the salary cap than ever before. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. I don't know if it's really all. It's tough. It's tough, but it is what it is. And again, Brandon Beane seems to think that he has all the answers, so he better figure them out quickly. Edge rushers are available. Yeah, yeah. Free agency. I know that Max Crosby pretty much told everybody, "I want to leave." Right? Didn't he? Talking about from Los Angeles or Las Vegas, excuse me. All right, so let me make sure I have this right. 20, yeah, Trey Hendrickson, okay, $29 million a year. Mixed in with a whole bunch of them. Crosby, Hendrickson. Well, Crosby might not be a free agent, but Hendrickson. Let's see. Well, Micah's locked down, so that wouldn't work, right? Micah's gone. Um, Hendrickson, Crosby wants to leave. Miles Garrett got his money, so he's not going anywhere. He's going to be there for however long. Wait a minute now. Does does Sean McDermott consider Cleveland? Is that defense? Is that a thing? I didn't even think about that. Reading through, does Sean McDermott consider going to because of his defensive prowess? I don't know. That would be kind of crazy. Where are we? Edge defender. All right, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, of course, Leonard Floyd, Joseph Asai, AJ Epinesa. Oh, okay. So we got to figure out AJ Epinesa too here, boys. Um, yeah, Van Noy's old. Derek Barnett. Just reading through this list here. Cam Thomas. I think Bari from Green Bay. Wow. Okay. Hmm. There's some names out there that we could potentially look at. I guess. Who I really think that we screwed up with is Jordan Phillips. I was really hoping that we would take a shot at him before he went to Philadelphia. And I think he's since said how much he's enjoying it there. I mean, obviously, not going to say he hates it, but I don't know if that's a possibility to look at. And I don't know what he signed either, to be honest with you. I wonder if this could. I don't know how much he'd be worth. You can only suspect, or predict. But this Joseph Asai from Cincinnati, I've been impressed with over the few years. I think he just kind of got his footing this year. Let me look. Yeah, 9 games, 5 sacks, 43 tackles, 2 forced fumbles. I think he's worth a look. But again, we can't. My only issue here is in the defense of the general manager. You cannot have a Pro Bowler at every position, right? You can't have an All Pro everywhere. I like Greg Russo. I think that if Ed Oliver didn't get hurt with another year under Deion Walker's belt and hopefully TJ Sanders as well, if those guys are all healthy, some more experience, I think things can open up for a Greg Russo to have maybe 9 to 11 sacks. I don't think 15 sack guy, but if we had 10 sacks out of the guy, then it's just funny. He's also one of the best rated edge defenders against the run. Joey Bosa started out with kind of, a bang, kind of fizzled. A lot of missed tackles, a lot of missed sacks, a lot of over pursuit, non-edge containment on run game. Wasn't overly thrilled with Jordan. like him. I like him. Wasn't thrilled with his play on the field this year. He did go through that spurt though of creating some havoc with forced fumbles and things. I don't know. It's just we can't have a Miles Garrett and a Justin Jefferson and a Josh Allen. All That's my only thing. But I will say these teams that can get pressure on the quarterback with rushing 4 people just make it so much easier for the defense. Arizona 155. Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, it's been going pretty good, I feel like. We once we figured out and started doing these live, especially obviously during the Bills games and doing the NFL games with like a play-by-play and talking about things, and people have been hopping in and it's fun. It seems so. We're gonna keep going. But thank you very much. We'll keep it pushing. You know what I mean? A lot of people out here doing this type of stuff. I don't know why people choose me, but we're having a good time doing it. I appreciate you. Yeah, you've been here. I remember you, well, maybe only a week or so, but you've been in here often. We've talked quite a bit, so I appreciate it, man. That could be an interesting spot for him. I was thinking Oakland, as wild as it sounds, you have a decent line, 1,000-yard rusher behind that terrible line, and a first overall. Well, oh, Oakland. Is that who you're talking about? A decent line, 1,000-yard rusher being uh, the their first rounder this year. See, I thought that he Ashton Genty, right? Is that what did he end up with 1,000 yards, by the way? For as much hate as was been given over there? 975 yards. Wow. 266 carries, though. That's the problem. Only 3.7 yards per carry. That's the issue. That's the issue. I know there was I didn't pay too much attention because they just, they weren't doing that great as a team, but I know that Miami just sacked Mr. Mendoza on 3rd and 9, 12 minutes, 30 seconds left in the third. They're going to punt Indiana. It's 10-0 still. Not that bad of a game. Anyway, yeah, Ashton Genty, I felt bad for him for a little while because he was getting beat up, I felt. Wasn't really getting much out of that. It looked like in some of the highlights, and I think I watched the bits and pieces of some of their games. He just looked deflated. He's not used to getting beat up like that, These guys are the best player on the field their entire life by a lot until they get to the NFL. And a lot of times it's, whoa, what the hell is this? Other people are good at football? Decent D line. Okay. Well, yeah, unless Crosby goes, then that's a problem, right? Oh, he was on a tear before the tear. You were kidding. His game and a half. I think he had 2 sacks. He had multiple run stuffs. What I noticed on film with him, I did a somewhat of a lengthy video on his film. He committed to his what they call 1/11th. He knew what his job was on any given play. He didn't overcommit to try to do something crazy. He stuffed his gaps. He filled his gaps. He didn't over pursue. He contained the edge. And then when the play clearly showed that it was not going to come to his indicated spot, he just ran like a maniac. Just loved to hit people. And then it showed because what happened with Michael Hoyt is he literally pops his Achilles, falls to the ground, gets up, refuses basically. I think he got up and he ran around and finished the play, first of all, when his Achilles was ruptured. Then he wouldn't allow someone to carry him off. He got assisted, but he wouldn't get carried off. And then he didn't leave the sideline. He said to the doctors, "I'm not going anywhere, guys. What are you talking about? I'm staying here with the boys until this game over. Go win a effing game," he says to his guys. I mean, I think he actually would have went out into the field and finished the game if they let him, kind of like Terrell Shavers did after he tore his ACL. Oh, well, I appreciate it, Pez. Thank you. You're awesome. People gravitate toward someone who is generally real. Great rooting for you. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is not a. I mean, thank you for the kind words, and I really mean that. Yeah, I will always just be me. I have no narrative. I'm not trying to push something for someone else. These are just my opinions 100%. I don't get paid to do this. This is my goal was not to I have a job, is my point. So I cannot get on here and do as much as these guys that do this for a living, which would be great. But I have a family. I have responsibilities. I can't just, take that risk at this moment in my life. If I was 23, maybe I would. This is a hell of a freaking gig that some of these guys have. I know it's hard work and it takes a lot of energy and effort, but I'd love to do it. I go on a new buddy of mine. His name is Dan Mitchell, probably one of the biggest when it comes to followers and subscribers, Bill's content creators on the planet. And I go on his show every day. I don't know what we're gonna do during the offseason, but we were previewing the next week's game, keys to the game, the matchup, offense, defense, whatever against who the Bills were playing. And I just kind of met him. He saw a video of mine, I saw one of his, whatever, and we started chatting. He does this. This is his job. This is his living. It's fantastic. He can do it all day. That's his job. I can't. I have to work. Now, if somebody were to reach out to me, so in case anybody that's listening, watching this knows someone or a company that wants to sponsor this channel, pay me what I make from my real job per month in a contract. I will gladly quit that job and just be able to talk about the NFL, college, Bill, and all things football for a living. I'm in. I'll sign up. Just saying it's not that I don't think it's that easy. That's all. One of the few creators that put a lot of effort in positive moves for one thing. You also try to do this stats and be a professional. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I do put in effort to make sure that I'm not saying anything. If I'm taking the stance that it's a fact, I want to make sure that it's a fact and not just BS. I will tell you that if I say something that's my opinion, I'll tell you it's my opinion, and there's no facts behind it. I wish I could give more of an effort, kind of what I was speaking about, Ethan. If I had more time and this is what I did for a living, I would. Hopefully, I'd be even better. I will tell you though, to Pez's point, oh my word, Miami just took a 2nd and 5, and I mean they scored a touchdown. I didn't even see it. It looked to be a pretty lengthy run. It's going to be 10-7. The national championship is actually going to end up as a hell of a game. It appears 11 minutes left in the third. Whoa! I didn't see this happening. By the way, I did not think this was going to happen. I'm not a huge cop. Who plays 62 yards? So I don't know what they did. It was 2nd and 5. So that's a 57-yard run for a touchdown. Whoa! Some things changing over there. That's great. Great news for the Miami Hurricanes. I mean, I don't care who wins, but to your point, Pez, I'm in an industry. I'm in the automotive industry, and I've been in a people business my whole life. I played college and then minor league baseball for a short period of time, and then I just got in the car business. No idea. It's horrible in school. Only had a 2.0 GPA. Okay, so I was eligible for the NCAA clearinghouse. That's the only reason I even had a 2.0. Horrible student, but I was good with people. I could talk for days. A lot of times it's got me in trouble, but yeah. So I'm in the people business. So to your point, yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I do. And I always gravitated towards people as well. So thank you very much for the compliment. I don't want to make this about me, but thank you everybody. And we're just hopefully if somebody calls us one day and says they want to sponsor, we start to make some money, then it's really on because then we'll get all the fancy subscriptions for all these advanced analytics statistics, which I'm a numbers guy, but I can't get them all because they cost money. And if this thing starts to make money, well, I'll put it right back into this channel. This program that allows me to go live, comments, and all this other stuff. Like, I'm not a digital guy. I was an athlete, like the typical jock. I was an athlete. School was not my deal, and then I just talk to people all day for a living. Anyway, this stuff is confusing me. I'm gonna learn it, trying to figure it out. And we'll do more if we do get what I've learned from people like yourselves who have been in these videos have told me there's a way. I honestly, God, didn't even really realize how this works, and I still kind of don't. We get enough subscribers and enough people to watch these videos and stuff, and then you get monetized and you start to get paid by advertisements or whatever. Probably not a lot of money, but then you get these little things up in the corner that say, attorneys or betting apps and all sorts of stuff. Hey, if we can make some money, great. But either way, even if we don't, we have fun doing it. I talk about football, with my kids and my friends, and I don't really have many friends, but people at work anyway. So we might as well do it together. Um, that's where we're at. Sorry, enough about me. Appreciate all of you. Well, when you have a line that gives up most sacks in the league, I think it's hard to run. Well, amen to that. 100%. Just like when the opposite, if you are the Houston and you have potentially the worst playoff quarterback ever to play football, then teams will sell out for the run, right? I mean, it's kind of the opposite. But I agree with you, and I hope that they can turn things around out there because you hate to see such a highly touted running back, which seems like a good dude. Don't know much about him, but seems like a good dude. I don't think he's ever been in legal trouble or anything like that. Go to a team that's a joke. You know, I feel like those guys. Like I said at the top of this thing, they're human beings. Yeah, they're athletes. Yeah, they make millions of dollars. Yeah, they're famous as all hell. They get all the perks in the world. I don't, you know, begrudge them for that, but they get all that. But they're still people, you know? They're still people. So they put all that hard work in their entire life. They have goals and aspirations, whatever they may be. Each person's different. You got Ashton Genty that goes finally makes it to the NFL. Probably wants to be a Hall of Famer. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, and they are horrible. And he's at 3.7 yards per carry, over 266 carries. He's got to be frustrated with that. Got to be frustrated with that. How do I see the Saints doing next year? This dude, Tyler Shuck, I feel like he showed some signs of being potentially an NFL quarterback. Are you a Saints fan, Zach? And if you are, I'd be really curious to see what you have to say on that. I think that he showed something that Saints fans probably should be relatively happy about. I don't know much about your running backs behind Alvin Kamara, who obviously is on his latter half, right? You just made that big signing of, oh, I'm sorry, you gave away Shaheed, but you kept Chris Olave. Um, I think let me pull this up. Let me just make sure I'm properly speaking. Indiana rushes the ball for about 15, 11 minutes left. Yeah, okay. Juwan Johnson, Taysom Hill, he's getting up there in age, right? I don't know how old he is. He's kind of that utility guy that I always liked him, but I don't know how much of a threat he is. Um, I do like Chase Young, and I think it's Justin Reed went. Yeah, Justin Reed went out there. He's a player, 100%. He's a player. I think they just got to put it all together. I think it was more so offense for them in years past, and I think that Tyler Shuck actually has something. I want to pull his numbers. I don't want to. I'm not speaking about numbers. I'm just speaking about what I've seen. I've watched a few. I'd say maybe a few quarters of them this year, and I feel like he's definitely the answer over Spencer Rattler. My, to me, let's look at his numbers. All right, 11 games, 2,300 yards, 67.6 completion rating, 7.3 yards per attempt, 10 touchdowns, 6 picks, 31 sacks, QB rating of 91.3. And he can run the football a little bit. 186 yards, 3 touchdowns. I think you got yourself something there. Or maybe if it's not you. I think New Orleans has to build around this guy. I like this guy. And his number, I liked him to the visual, to the eye. And now that I see his numbers, I think I like him even more. I think he's going to be somebody. I like, and he's also not a small guy, right? I think he's a bigger frame. If I can remember, Rattler's a smaller dude, right? And Chuck is, oh yeah, 6'5", 220. You got yourself something right there, New Orleans. I think you turn that thing around. Thank God they kept Olave. If they gave away, that would have been hard. That's a great question. And Ethan, at one point, did you ask me this before? I think you might have asked me this before. And um, and I don't think I had an answer for you, but I thought, wait a minute, didn't, the Titans don't have a coaching vacancy, do they? I don't. Hold on. Hold on one second. I don't think they do. Yeah, I don't think. Did they fire their? I mean, that was last year. Last year, when obviously when they got rid of Vrabel, but yeah, Mike McCoy, was he only interim? Right? Didn't Mike McCoy go to Tennessee? Interim. Okay. Okay. So I'm just looking this up here. And I'm not a huge Titan guy, obviously, so I don't pay too much attention to all the insides there. But um, does Brian Flores go there? I don't know why, but it seems to me as if that's somewhere that Brian Flores goes because uh, here, real quick, I don't know who's this is from, but they're saying that Brian Flores is a serious candidate for the Steelers. I was going to say that Brian Flores, Ron, obviously, yeah, defensive coordinator. I think that that's not a bad gig for him in in Tennessee, although it might not be high enough profile for a guy that is bringing the attention that Flores has. So I think see, I kind of like him there though. I do. You know who's going to go to if he's going to stay a head coach, who's going to go to Tennessee is Mike McDermott. Bills fan grew up in Dansville. Just like to see what teams make that step into possibly playoffs. Oh, yeah. Well, the way the NFL goes, right, with all the parity, playoff teams change every year. Every year. Yes, yes, Ethan, right. Just that interim. Jason Garrett and Spags have interviewed with Tennessee, but they requested the yard. Jason Garrett? Wait a minute. First of all, I thought Spagnuolo has made it clear that he is a forever coordinator. He really interviewed with Tennessee for the head coaching gig? Was that recent? Like just after the Chiefs season? And they wanted, I mean, obviously, especially I think Spags deserves more money than Jason Garrett. That is a good point here too. Mike McCarthy is another name that has even been thrown around today for the Bills job. The problem is with the defensive um, coordinator, defensive minded coach with the Tennessee Titans. You probably want a guy that is really good with quarterbacks, obviously an offensive guy. Now, Mike McCarthy clearly has had good luck with some big time quarterbacks, especially Aaron Rodgers, and then put up some really gaudy numbers as regular season numbers, Dak Prescott. So McCarthy could be an option there in Tennessee. Although I just I feel like Tennessee is just one of those gritty style teams. Although they're in nice, well, not like country music, barbecue food, Nashville, Tennessee. They've always kind of had that stigma, not a negative one, but of being a kind of a hard nosed team. all the way back to the McNair days, even, the Eddie George days of just run the football, pound the football, play defense, not a lot of uh, uh, big numbers on the scoreboards, right, in their games. And that to me seems more like a defensive minded coach. Obviously, when you pick Cam Ward, you don't pick him as early as you pick him to have a game manager and average, 22 points. But that just to me always seemed who Tennessee was. That's what it immediately goes to someone like Brian Flores. But I think about it, Mike McCarthy might be better suited for that team because of the young QB that they just obviously invested the farm quite literally in last year. So that's a good point, and that might actually end up working out. Who knows? I don't know, but it could. All right, so this game is 10-7. Now Miami just got backed up towards their own end zone and they just punted. So not great. 8 minutes left in the third quarter. Indiana's going to take over, start their drive with their own 42. So good field position for Indiana. I think that that actually might call it for me this evening for a few hours. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for the talk. You now know exactly what I feel about the Buffalo Bills getting rid of Sean McDermott, how they did it, what I think is happening in the front office, who Brandon Bean is. I could be. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want to be right when it comes to those types of things. That's the vibe that I get. That's the feel that I get. And I don't like to see people treated a certain way, no matter what, unless they did something to deserve that, which I don't feel that McDermott did. I think he's done a lot of good for the organization, Western and upstate New York, and I think he's been a model example of what any franchise should want for someone to captain their organization. And my God, we've been to the postseason for I think 6 years in a row, and the Buffalo Bills just certainly have not had that for decades. And to bring them back, to that situation and consistently, I just think that the way that it went down, I feel like it was not supposed to happen that way. That's basically all I'm saying. I feel bad for the man. I feel like it shouldn't have happened that way. I think it should have been much, much different. Not saying that the decision was horrible, but more so the way that it happened, although I don't agree with the decision either way. I just don't think it happened the right way. Nevertheless, it happened, and the Bills have to figure something out, which I'm hopeful that they will. I don't know that I'm confident, but I'm hopeful, and we shall see how it goes. These answers and even some answers soon. I'm hoping to hear from some people literally tomorrow from the franchise, from the organization. I think all the fans, including myself, deserve it. We need to hear from Brandon Bean. He needs to sit down and tell us what his plans are for the wide receiver room, especially since he got so angry last time he was asked about wide receivers. Well, now here's your chance, my friend. Now you really need to answer. You need to feel the heat. And I hope that the reporters in the room that are asking the questions don't allow him to get off easy. He should answer for his action. Only fair when you're in a position and a role like that. You definitely should not be able to hide in your office and not answer the call after you make a decision with a 9-year head coach that has turned your franchise around. So, love all you guys. Thank you so much. Don't forget, if you're not yet, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow us everywhere, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Instagram, not so much going on over there, but we'll keep it going. Until next time, Hope Front. Have a great night.